On Thursday, 11th of June 2020, the National Assembly, headed by Ahmed Lawan, celebrated its first-year anniversary in office without fanfare. Unlike previous anniversaries of the inauguration of the National Assembly. Good day and welcome to today's edition of Christians in Politics, coming to you from the studios of Advent Cable Network Nigeria Television, ACNNTV. I am Smart Simon, and today we shall be reviewing the first-year anniversary and achievement of the National Assembly, focusing mostly on the 9th Senate, headed by Ahmed Lawan. With me in the studio to discuss this topic is our regular in-house analyst, the Venerable Joseph O. Nwaya, JP, Director, Civic and Political Affairs, Church of Nigeria, Anglican Communion, and also chaplain to the National Assembly. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me again.
Good to have you here today. We want to start right away, looking at the celebration of the one-year anniversary of the National Assembly. What can you say generally on their performance?
Well, we are fond of celebrating so many things in Nigeria. Otherwise, I've never at any time cherished this idea of celebrating 1 year in office, this or that.
Okay.
But be that as it may, it is more or less like a culture in Nigeria. And because of that, people have been trying to look at the 9th Assembly. When you talk of achievement generally, all I will say, they are not throwing chairs at each other.
Yeah.
So that is an achievement, because it's a common feature of Nigeria politics that when you inaugurate an assembly, be it at state, local government level or at the national level, what you see is fighting every day in the hallowed chambers.
Yeah.
So to a large extent, these people have not been fighting physically, and to that extent we can say they have achieved something to maintain peace among themselves. That is number one. And you can see also that in some areas the cooperation they have been maintaining with the executive and all that has led to that kind of peaceful disposition in the House, since there's no executive or necessary intervention in one way or the other to deliberately create crisis, because they seem to be working hand in hand as friends with the executive. So for me, that is the primary area where I can say they have been able to, if you want to call it success or achievement, they have achieved something. It's stability. They have been able to stabilize themselves. It's possible for there to have a change of leadership within 1 year.
Yeah.
And we have
maybe
had
because
issues in the past.
the leadership there is what the executive wants, so that won't be any
No,
problem.
it's clear. It's clear. That is what the executive wanted, and they are the people there. So don't forget the story about the rubber stamp.
Of course.
Yes. So
that's true.
So that is how I see it as an individual. I've not seen any outstanding performance, except in the area of the passage of the 2020 budget.
Yeah.
Which only stayed just for about 2 months, and it was passed. It was submitted 8th of October, passed 8th of December. I think, to me, you can call that an achievement. It's indeed an achievement, because that is a record.
Exactly.
But if you also go back to history, you will discover that it was not really the fault of the National Assembly that budgets were not passed in good time.
Yeah.
There were always late submission of budget, and MDAs, that is ministerial departments and agencies, then some ministers and all that, will not go to them to do the needful at the right time.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the thing linger on and on. So But I think because of this harmonious relationship between the National Assembly and the executive arm, they were able to maybe work together to ensure that there was speedy passage of the budget. Because even Mr. President, for the first time, Ireland warned all the head of MDAs and all that not to leave the country until their budget had been defended.
Yeah.
So if there was something like that in the past, we will not call it an achievement now.
Yes.
So to that extent, we can say they have tried. And you can see if you want to, because I'm saying this because what I see as achievement, it may not be an achievement to another person.
Yeah.
But because people think differently and people belong to different opinion group. People will say they have also achieved certain things by the speedy passages of bill and what is it called? Request from the presidency. Look at the way they have speedily passed some bills. There are some bills that have been passed in the past 1 year that until the last, the third reading, even members of the National Assembly did not even have copies of what they are trying to pass. So some people will call that achievement. Some of the loans that have been approved were approved speedily, even including the 28 billion that was rejected by the 8th Assembly.
Yeah.
It was speedily approved without any consideration, really. So people may call those ones achievement, but to the larger society, that is what they mean by using the word rubber stamp.
All right, thank you so much. Now, when Lawan came into office last year,
Yeah.
he repeatedly promised to be on the side of the people. And then he said he was going to put Nigeria first. He also repeatedly told Nigerians that 9th Senate will always be on the same page with President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration. Will you say these promises were fulfilled during this 1 year anniversary?
The Bible says you cannot serve two masters at the same time.
Okay.
And expect to please both.
Okay.
You cannot say you are for the people and you are for the executive arm
At the same
same time. You can't do it. It's practically impossible in democracy. The National Assembly is supposed to be there more or less as the mouthpiece of the people. And is supposed to check the excesses of the executive. Because the National Assembly are the most representative organ in a democratic governance, because every person there is elected to represent one constituency or the other in the country. But when you go to the executive, the principal officers, for instance, at the national level, the president, the vice president, these are the people that were elected. Every other person are appointees of the president.
Yeah.
So they are not really representing the people. Their wish and their command is at the pleasure of the president who appointed them.
Mm-hmm.
So the National Assembly, as the representative of the people, are supposed to be on the side of the people. They are supposed to query what the executive are doing. They are supposed to caution the executive when they are going overboard and do so many other things. But when you declare from the beginning that you are going to be friend of the executive, you are going to be friend of the people, then I ask you, where are you? Where are you going to stand?
Exactly.
You are not, if somebody come in here and they say, I will be your friend and your person, and he will be my friend and my person, and two of us are in opposing camp. How does that work? How does that work? It takes the grace of God to really find an executive arm that is savoring the will of the masses all over the world. Is true. That is why you need the other arms of government, the legislative arm, the judiciary, to put their feet down to checkmate the excesses of the executive. You know, the executive have executive power. They control the army, they control the police, they control all the the powers to implement and get things done are in their hand. And so you need to watch such people. When you give enormous power to somebody and there's no organization strong enough, an institution strong enough to check the excesses, you run into so many mistakes.
That's true.
Like most of the loans that have been taken, there are many of them that need to be queried. And I don't see joy in running government on loan.
Exactly. Especially when the loans is just for running costs, not capital projects.
No major capital, something you can see that you say, okay, this justifies this huge loans that are being collected domestically, internationally, and all that. One of recent, let me say this, of recent, when you are talking about achievement, when they hurriedly passed one of the bills, one of the requests for loans, there was a House of Rep member who came out and granted it. Have you right inside the National Assembly there, and he made this statement that this government have not only borrowed for the children, they are borrowed for grandchildren, they are now borrowed for great-grandchildren. Is that a good commentary?
It's not at all.
If a member of the National Assembly can say that on national television, then what are we talking about? Who is the institution that is saddled with the responsibility to say, no, don't take this thing. This thing will jeopardize our future? Is it not the National Assembly?
It's the National Assembly themselves.
So, to that extent, I would call any person there a good mark for now.
I will be on the side of the president. I will be on the side of the
yes.
people.
How do you
that
do
is
that?
double amount.
How do you do that kind of? How do you live that ambivalent kind of life?
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Now, for the first time since the country returned to a democratic rule in 1999, the Senate ended the legislative year without oversighting any MDAs. The 2020 budget was passed in December 2019 without carrying out a single oversight on the budget. What can you say on this matter?
Well, I hope that will not amount to a sweeping generalization.
Okay.
But if that is the fact in the public domain, available to the public, then it's sad to say that, because one of the major tools in the hand of the legislators is their oversight function.
Exactly.
Because if the executive knows that, look, these people will come out and look at what we say we are doing and take the right step to correct every mistake or injustice or misdemeanor, then they will sit up. But if the legislator just go to the hall there and look at paper and will not go out to do exercise their oversight function, they have given up their power. That is the major tool they have to check the executive.
Yeah.
And if they refuse to do that, it's unfortunate. But we will not, the only area where I will not so much, because when you are criticizing, we should be logical. The area where I'm looking at them with some measure of sympathy is the issue of the era that we found ourselves of recent. That is this coronavirus era, where there is lockdown, where institutions are not working, even companies that are supposed to be working, maybe whether it's on the road, construction, or whatever, all of them closed down for a very long time, and there's no interstate movement just to check what is going on. To that extent, you will not no flight, flying. So to that extent, you cannot blame them too much for not being able to crisscross the country to do oversight. But no matter what, they should know that is the primary, the main tool in their hand to put the executive in check.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Now, what about the budget passage? Yeah. I know you've mentioned something on that before.
Yes. Talking about the budget passage, I said earlier, to a large extent, we can say they achieved something. But really, were they the National Assembly that achieved something, or the executive in respect of the budget? There were some budgets in the past that were brought in. You will hear at defense, budget defense, that, what the ministers and the MDAs are presenting, there's no synergy, there's no harmony. So they will turn them back, go and put your house in order and come back, things like that. The Senate committees, we sit, Senate Committee on Appropriation, we invite people, DGs of some MDAs, they will not show up. You hear that the DG is in overseas or is somewhere else. So these have been the issue. And even the budget itself will not even get to the National Assembly. So some budget have been brought to the National Assembly in the following year, maybe February, March. And the budget, you expect the budget, what magic do you want the National Assembly to do? But this time, the executive presented the budget on the 8th of October. And the president, Ireland, gave an instruction to all the ministers, the head of parastatals, MDAs, agencies, that no one should move until get to the budget defense. And they all stayed back. So that is where we talk about political will to do the right thing. As far as even the budget passage is concerned, I'm not going to give the whole credit to the National Assembly. I'm going to share the credit between the National Assembly and the executive. The executive presented in good time. And maybe because they know that it is their men that are in charge, so there was nothing to fear. So they presented in good time. And the National Assembly, because they know the executive are their men, they attended to it in good time. So for me, that was a corporate achievement between the executive and the National Assembly. Yeah. That's how I see it. Yeah. But that was an achievement.
Well,
at least the budget started running from the beginning of the year. So to me, without running away from the fact, that was an achievement.
All right, thank you so much. It's an achievement, but sir,
when you look at the other angle, in the area of padding, the area of adding things here and there, which Nigeria have always grumbled about, many Nigerians expect that when the executive presents a budget, the National Assembly should be able to prune it down. But that was not the case in the 2020 budget.
That's true.
Is it not 9.3 trillion that was presented? Is it 9.3 or 10.3? Then they took it to 9.3 or 9.6 or 10.6 trillion.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that, things were still added to swell the budget.
All right.
Can the budget be pruned down? Especially during this coronavirus season. Budget could have been pruned down seriously at that point.
All right. Thank you so much. Now, there is one thing that is very important to the National Assembly or legislators generally. That is check and balances. Now, looking at the 9th Senate and the 8th Senate, if we can do comparison, will you really say that this Senate was able to carry out that work of check and balances to the executive?
My brother, there's nothing to compare at all. There's nothing to compare. one interesting thing about the 8th Assembly was that the leadership also belonged to the ruling party. But they were able to resist the executive to the very last point. There was always this way of putting their feet down on every issue to get to the root of it. The people will tell you it was as a result of the way the leadership emerged. The leadership of the 8th Senate felt that, well, since, even though we belong to the same party, since the executive worked against our emergence, but anyhow, we emerged, we should be able to put our feet down and call a spade a spade. That was what happened in the 8th Assembly. And it was for the good of the masses.
Yeah.
Because there was nothing that they did not scrutinize well or did not try to query. They did not rush into clearance of any person. You know, throughout the 8th Assembly, there were some people that were presented by the executive arm to descend to screen for some certain offices that were never passed.
That's true.
Until the life of that assembly expired.
Yeah.
The EFCC acting chairman is a good one.
Yeah.
They didn't bend. But this one now is a question of bow and go. Every person comes in and almost every person meets the requirement and pass.
Bow and go syndrome.
So to me, there's nothing to compare. For as long as the National Assembly is maintaining a posture that they want to always cooperate with the executive, then there's no need of having the National Assembly there at all.
Yeah.
They are not there. It's not about working together harmoniously. What you call disharmony between the National Assembly and the executive, between the legislative arm of government and the executive, work all together for the good of the masses.
Of course.
When there is harmony, unity, cooperation, alignment, as it is now, my brother, is the masses that will suffer for it.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true. All right. Thank you so much. Now, let's move on to the issue of press freedom for pressmen. What can you say on the effort of the National Assembly in ensuring press freedom for pressmen?
What did they say on Showore's matter? Throughout, even when court orders were being disobeyed, did you really hear the National Assembly take a position on the matter? The National Assembly could have been the best organ to advise the executive to obey. Or if they are refusing to do that, they take a definite stand to resist it. But there was nothing categorical.
In fact, they said the CUPP.
That's what I wanted to say now,
Okay.
that the CUPP spokesman, Ikenga Ugochuyere, that one is already behind the bar now again. And nobody is saying anything concrete.
Daddy Yata, that is Abajalingo, all of those ones.
So many people have been incarcerated and they are just there, languishing behind the bar. And the National Assembly is just moving on as if nothing is going on. Have you heard the person these people you just mentioned that have been detained unnecessarily or for too long? The police have the right to detain person, to investigate it. They have the right to arrest when it is good. But when the law court has ruled, everyone should be seen to be obeying the rule of law. And any person that is not obeying the rule of law, it is the duty of the National Assembly to call that very person to order, whether it's Mr. President, whether it's the IG of police, whoever is involved. Because the rule of law is the hallmark of democracy. And if you compare democratic government with military dictatorship, the only thing that is missing that makes it become military dictatorship is the legislative arm of government. That is what is present, because even during the dictatorial government during the military time, the courts were still there, which is the judiciary. The only arm that is not there was the legislative arm. So, in other words, the legislative arm is what brings the balance.
Exactly.
Is what really makes it a democratic government.
Yes.
Where they are the watchdog of the people. They are the one that the executive should fear, that should make the executive to sit up and do the right thing. But when it is after a session, you go to Aso Rock to go and drink wine with the executive, and you come back, that one cannot work. That was what the Nigerians were kicking against at the beginning. The way and manner the leadership of the present assembly emerged was something that people already knew. They were not just prophesying that the relationship between them and the executive would be so close and so cordial to the point that they will make nonsense of the whole democratic principles.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Viewers, with that, we will go on a short break, and when we return, our discussion will continue.
Acts 17, verses 10 to 12. The Bereans, they will listen to Apostle Paul preaching the gospel. They will accept it. But after that, they will go back home and search the scriptures to find whether what Apostle Paul was saying is true or not. So be like the Berean Christian. As you are watching these programs, we want three things to be open in your front. One, your heart must be open to God. Two, let your Bible be open and you follow us as we read. And three, you must open your notes to jot down what we are doing. Eschatos means last, and logy means study. So the study of last day's event is eschatology. You are welcome to Eschatology Simpliciter.
Viewers, you're welcome back. This is still Christians in Politics, and we've been in the studio with the Venerable Joseph Nwaya, who has been talking to us on the 1-year anniversary of the National Assembly. Now, sir, your thought on these three subjects: improving institutional capacity of the Senate for effective performance, legislative interventions for good governance, then special areas of concern. These three areas, what is your thoughts on them, looking at what we've been discussing?
That is improving
institutional capacity of the Senate for effective performance.
Now, when you are talking about institutional capacity of the of the National Assembly,
yes,
let me not just restrict it to the Senate. Now, see, no one will come and improve what do you call it?
The capacity.
The capacity for you in the National Assembly. You have an act that have established you.
That's right.
The goals and objectives of the National Assembly as an arm of government is there. The roles are specified. I think what we have is bad leadership in this country. Bad leadership. It's not that something is wrong with our institutions or that our institutions will not work. Now, as a priest, if I decide not to do my job or speak the whole truth on the pulpit, if I decide to be romancing with authorities and I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do right in the parish, if I decide to engage myself in what I call bureaucratic relay, dancing around the bishop court and all that, but the real thing the bishop wants me to do or the people want me to do, I'm not doing it. Is it that the institution of priesthood is bad? No. Is it that the capacity of priesthood to do the right thing is not there? No. The problem is me.
Yes, that individual.
Yes. Unwillingness to do the right thing. Not having the political will to stand and do what is needful. That is the problem. So no one will come from anywhere to come and improve the capacity of the institution of the National Assembly.
So it has to be from within.
Yes.
Because no outsider is even allowed to come in.
No.
If you are not accredited to come in, you can't come in.
The system is there.
Yes.
It is established. Money is being paid, taxpayers' money is being used to pay these very people. What they need to do is to do their job, for Christ's sake.
Yes.
Then talking about legislative intervention
for good governance.
That is the whole essence of having the legislative arm of government. That there should be a body called the National Assembly who will always intervene in every issue that borders on the common life of the citizens, so that the executive arm will not take people for granted, so that the executive arm will not just do what they like.
Exactly.
And so there must be, if there's a proposal by the executive, the legislative arm should be on ground and be willing to look at whatever they are proposing and scrutinize it properly, make adjustments. Those are the interventions we are talking about. So, if they are not playing that very role, then the institution has failed. There will be no good governance, because especially when the leadership kind of maintain a posture or a kind of show a kind of body language that the executive understands that, oh, we can do anything this time and go away with it.
Yeah.
No one will query us. Then the country is doomed. And that is the kind of picture we are seeing now.
Yeah.
Where the executive propose to secure a loan, and it will just get approval in one day. The executive will send in a bill. The bill will pass the first reading, second reading, sometimes in one day, like as it was in the case of the infectious disease control bill that was running, and they were almost passing it in the House of Representatives.
Yeah.
Where do you do that? That the finance bill that was passed, do you know some members of the National Assembly did this have copies until after the second reading?
Wow.
Where do you do that? It's like going to a meeting. Let's take an ordinary meeting. You have minutes of previous meeting to adopt, and it has 10 pages, a 10-page document, and the chairman of the meeting says, yes, you know, this is the minutes of last meeting. I've looked at it. It's a very good one. Can somebody move motion for adoption? And you discover that members of the floor don't even have copies. That is what is happening. And that should not be encouraged. You see, you know, in the issue of the infectious disease control bill, when they were to do it in the Senate, they wanted to follow suit what was going on in the what's it called, in the House of Representatives. But Senator Ike Ekweremadu had to resist it.
Yeah.
And he drew their attention to the rules of the Senate that says that a member is entitled to see the copy of the bill and have it and scrutinize it before you come and start making any contribution.
Yeah.
So, you see, we need legislative intervention to be able to push. The third leg of the question
is areas of concern, special areas of concern.
Special areas of concern. Now, I wouldn't know really what you have in mind by talking about special areas of concern. I don't know whether you have a special focus on any particular concern. I don't know.
Well, there are indeed special area of concern, sir.
Yes.
Talking about health.
Yeah. Now, yes.
With the pandemic.
Yeah, I wanted to.
Then education.
Yes.
These are special areas of concern.
Now, you see, when you are talking about special area of concern in the developing country, I want to tell you there are so many areas of concern.
So many, right?
So many areas. Is it infrastructure that is not area of concern now? Is it insecurity that is not special area of concern now? COVID-19 is special in some sense because this is something, strange wind that just came from nowhere, and here we are, our children are at home, school is not going on. We have to now begin to think of what to do. The National Assembly, as the representatives of the people, have to think deeply in that area to know where there could be some special intervention. It's a special area of concern now. Food security is a special area of concern.
Exactly.
So then insecurity is a special area of concern. So there are so many special areas of concern that the National Assembly need to look into from time to time as the time goes.
All right, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your thought. Well, at the beginning of this program, you tried to mention some achievement, but you didn't quite mention them. We want you right now, if you can help us mention some achievement of the National Assembly, and then have the citizens themselves, are they properly represented? Have they benefited at all?
Now, that is where the problem lies. That's why I said I was mindful of my word at the beginning, and I tried to define, when we are talking about achievement, that what you think is an achievement to you may be failure as far as I'm concerned. And I'm saying for the National Assembly, they can give themselves a pat at the back and say, we have achieved some things. We have achieved something. And I said one of it is that they have not been throwing of chairs against each other in the hollow chamber. At least they are cooperating with themselves. And for the leadership of the National Assembly, that there have been no rancor between them and the executive arm is a major achievement. But for the masses, it's a failure, colossal failure, as far as the masses is concerned. Because the romance going on between the leadership of the National Assembly and the executive arm will not take Nigeria anywhere. It will not put the executive on check. So that is why drawing a line between achievement and non-achievement is very difficult. And if it's just 1 year, let's hope, let's wait and hope things will be better. Let's hope that things will be better. I've analyzed the issue of the passage of the budget. And I say, well, to a very large extent, that is an achievement that the budget was passed. And I also told you that it was because the executive took some steps. They presented the budget in good time. The executive put their feet down to say every person must go before the National Assembly as at when due to defend whenever they are invited. And that is why the budget was passed in good time.
Yes.
So, if that is the achievement that has come as a result of the cooperation between them, let's take that as an achievement.
All right.
But for me, the romance between the two arms, I'm not comfortable with it. And I feel from my personal survey, many Nigerians are not comfortable with it.
All right. Thank you so much. I can imagine that you've been struggling really to tell us the achievement of the National Assembly. That means
it would have been wonderful if one of the members of the National Assembly was here to tell me the achievement, then let me speak for the people.
Okay, all right.
Because we are outside, we are with the people.
All right.
So it will be better.
So, sir,
yes,
have you been properly represented in the National Assembly?
That is
have the citizens properly represented?
That is it. As far as the government continue to borrow the way we have been borrowing for the past 5 years, and the borrowing is unending, and we are not seeing anything. This is 5th year gone out of 8 years. What can you really now? Let's take insecurity. Are we better than where we were before 2015 now?
Well, they said they are not throwing bomb again on
What
the
do you
street.
mean? What does bomb do? Bomb kills people. Abi?
Yes.
If you are not throwing bomb, but you are using AK-47 and people are dying more in numbers,
more or less
what is the point?
Difference, really.
You remember there was one program and one episode heard in this place when I was asking that if a bomb is not being thrown in Abuja, does that mean that Nigeria is now secured? Insecurity was located particularly in the northeast. But now, no single part of the country is safe. There is kidnapping everywhere. There is no killings everywhere. Boko Haram attacking everywhere. Herdsmen are doing their own every day. People can't go to their farm. So, what have we achieved?
All right. Well, in other words, there is no any benefit as citizens of this country.
You ask the question, have they represented me well? I cannot say somebody who is approving loans upon loans is representing me well, because this loan will be paid one day. I can't say he has represented me well. I can't say somebody have represented me well, or people supposed to speak, then Nigerians, ordinary citizens, because they air their views, are being put behind the bar perpetually, and no one is talking. They are not talking. That is not a good representation. Okay. I like what you said. The people that are supposed to represent me, I can't do oversight by myself. Even if they are tying the road to my village and they are doing the wrong thing, I can't go there. Whatever I say, even what I'm saying here, they can consider it as roadside talk. They say, let the reverend finish talking and go and conduct Holy Communion. And that is his own area of jurisdiction.
Yeah.
But they can't do that to the National Assembly. The National Assembly have the right to call the executive to order. They have the right to say, do it this way, or you have not done it this way, so we will not approve this. This is the only thing we can approve. So they are the ones who are constitutionally saddled with the responsibility to do. What we are just doing is we are just playing the role of pressure group from the outside. They are the people inside who are supposed to do the needful. That we made the executive, we are not saying that executive ab initio are not set to do good, but even when you are set to do good, if there's no person to tell you are doing well or you are doing badly, you will not be able to correct yourself.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Now, of recent, Mr. President met with the service chiefs, and he said their good is not, their effort is not good enough.
Their effort is not good enough.
And thereafter, the Senate president also met with the president behind closed door.
Yes.
Do you think with these meetings we're heading somewhere?
Where has the closed door meeting taken us to? People are dying. Katsina is being has been under attack, serious attack of recent. That is the state of Mr. President. Do you know the meaning of that?
Yeah.
That is the state where the chief security advisor for the whole country comes from. Do you know the implication of that? If that place is on fire, then which other place is safe? So we need to call spade a spade. Is it now that the presidency knows that the effort is not good enough? Nigerians have been crying out for Christ's sake for a very long time. Say that the effort the people are making is not good enough. Do you need to wait till thousands of people to die? Do you need to wait till they get to your father's compound before you know effort is not good enough? So you see, my brother, let's call a spade a spade. I make appeal, passionate appeal to Mr. President to do the needful.
All right.
Yes. The time is not even on his side. 1 year is gone again. Remaining 3 years to go. These 3 years can be used for redemption of the country. These 3 years can be used to really secure this country. These 3 years can be used to really develop infrastructure. Now, my brother, which angle can you look to now to say, oh, from 2015 till now, we now have respite in this very angle once and for all? If this matter has been dealt with and settled once and for all. No. Even in the issue of corruption, have we been able to deal with it? What was the story I was telling you? Cyber crime is increasing by the day. I was telling you this morning that last night I slept by 3 a.m. because they hacked my Facebook account and they are using it to dupe people, taking money from people, innocent people. And we have done everything to recover. We can't recover it. And such, now, look at the phone, the GSM number they are using to make calls. Is it not networks that are hosting these numbers? Is the account they are asking people to transfer money into? Is it not banks in Nigeria that are hosting this account? They don't know these people. What do you see they are doing about it? What has improved?
Well, the problem are so many.
What has improved?
Many.
That is the point. What has improved, my brother? What has improved?
Okay, all right. Let's move away from there. We cannot really exhaust these problems. They are there. Now, sir, as the chaplain to the National Assembly, what can you say are the problems of those elected in the National Assembly? And how can we solve this problem?
Majority of people elected, I will continue to say this, that they are not there to represent you. They are just there to hustle for themselves.
Exactly.
I
to
say
make money for themselves.
I say this without apology. Majority are not there to represent, but with the exception of few, we have to be fair to some few. Some are just like a lone voice in the wilderness. They are speaking, no one is really listening. There are some there, for the 4 years, you can't put finger on what they said or what they stood for.
Some will just be there.
Some are there, they just simply concur. Some are there.
They won't even say anything.
Some are there, they tell you boldly that, the way things are, I'm just watching development, we need to be careful. Then why are you there? Then there are few who will come out to stake their life to speak and do certain things, and sometimes they do it at the expense of their political career, and they are thrown off. Some of them, they just make sure they destroy them so that they can't come back again. So some people have become victims. So even when we are talking about, we have to salute the courage of such few individuals. We have to salute the courage. There are still few there, but don't forget, majority wins vote.
Exactly.
In a democracy.
It's about a game of numbers.
It's about game of number. No matter the stand of some few there, we have some few. I don't want to be mentioning names. We have some few there.
It's okay.
But no matter their stand, as far as majority are not seeing it the way they are seeing it, there's nothing they can do.
So when we want to vote, we must be sure that the people
sure
we are
of the person
voting
you are voting for.
are
Any person
truly
that is,
going there to represent us and not their pockets.
is coming to give you salt, give you wrapper, coming to
He
share
has
rice
no-
for you.
he has no good-
because do you beg to go and serve people? If you beg to go there, it means you have a hidden agenda.
That's true. That's
The people in those days, my father was in the farm when people came to meet him. My late father, they came to meet him and say, "Come, Oyinbo have brought a clan court, and they say each community should bring somebody who is straightforward, who can speak for them, who is a man of truth, who is bold, and our whole community, the whole Ile community in Ekpoma, in Edo State, have decided to choose you to go and represent them in the clan court." He said, "Me? In the farm?" That is where they came to call him to say, "Go there, you are the one to represent us in the clan court."
Yeah.
So that is how it's supposed to be.
All right, thank you so much. We are out of time, sir. So
Not somebody killing, shooting people, hiring area boys to kill during election because he wants to go and represent you, and you believe him that he's going there to represent you.
it's all right. Thank you so much, sir, for your thought. We're out of time now. Quickly, your advice to the National Assembly on carrying out their duties for the remaining 3 years.
We can improve.
All right.
History will put you on the wrong side if you did not do the right thing. So those who were there in the 8th Assembly are no longer, some of them are no longer there today. Yes, some of them are no longer there today. Those who are there today, if you like, lock your door against the people. If you like, don't allow people to have access to you. If you like, be trying to please the executive. If you like, refuse to do the right thing. At the end of the day, history will judge whether you did the right thing or you did the wrong thing.
All right. Thank you so much, the Venerable Joseph Onuaya, for sharing your thought with us on this very important matter. So the National Assembly, I guess some of them might be listening to us. Do the right thing. We still have 3 years to go, and within these 3 years, you can still do the right thing. We want to thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
For your time and for coming. Viewers, please remember that politics is necessary and unavoidable. The penalty for not participating in politics is being ruled by people who are inferior. So every one of us, we must go all out and ensure that we are interested on those who represent us. Otherwise, we have problems.
Yeah, we should participate correctly.
Let us participate correctly in politics. And that is it until we come your way again, same time, same station, next week. I remain Smart Simon, and bye.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the guests and viewers, and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the Advent Cable Network Nigeria, ACNN TV.